live from the BMW of Atlantic City studios. This is Fantasy Dominance Now. Hey everybody, little change up. Throwing a curveball at you. It's your boy Doug Fresh Pitchford, sitting with the man, the myth, the legend, Brian Daly.
What's up? What's up?
And the man in the corner, Rob Povia, your normal host with the most. It's a little different for you guys. I like it though. It feels good sitting in the captain's chair.
Feels good sitting now in the captain's chair, I tell you what.
Truth be told, and Fantasy Dominance Now on a2dradio.com is brought to you by BMW of Atlantic City. BMW of Atlantic City has challenged its sales team. They must sell 100 cars, which means you save. Right now, lease a certified pre-owned to Elite 2017 BMW 320i xDrive for just $299 a month for 36 months. BMW, the ultimate driving experience, is closer than you think. BMW of Atlantic City. Easy to get to, minutes off of exit 37, off the Parkway, or you can just check them out online at bmwatlanticcity.com. Man, it's a lot.
It's not as easy as it looks, eh?
No, it's definitely not as easy as it looks.
You did a fine job, sir. Fine job.
Grassy ass. Oh, man, this episode of Fantasy Dominance Now is going to be jam-packed for you guys. We're going to cover everything that just happened. A little recap for Week 8. Big Carson Palmer injury. What happened last night in the Monday night game with the Jason Peters injury. We're also going to touch on some, fresh starts, some stale sits for the week. Also give you a little fantasy basketball, a little fantasy hockey, throw a little sprinkle in there, maybe some early season ads if we got time for it towards the end of the show. Oh, man, it's just so much to go into, Brian, so much.
Well, let's get started, man. I'm excited. Let's go.
Let's do it. But first, we did ask you on Twitter and on Facebook our poll question today, who is the biggest fantasy football bust for this season? Our choices today are Julio Jones, Matty Ice Baby Ryan, and that dude, Marshawn Lynch, or other. You can add other into the comments section on the post. Who do you think, Brian?
Personally, I definitely think it's been Marshawn Lynch or Julio Jones. I can't decide between the two, but I kind of had a feeling going into the season Marshawn Lynch wasn't going to have a good year. That full year off. Now he's getting suspended for a game. He looks slow. He just doesn't – I don't think he has it anymore. I think he lost it. I think he should have just stayed retired.
You know what? I definitely see he does seem a little slow. But that offensive line is not what it was last year. They're not creating those holes like they did for Latavius Murray last year and DeAndre Washington. I just feel like, it's not just Marshawn Lynch, but it is a lot Marshawn Lynch. So that is a good one, Brian.
Oh, no, I agree. Look at DeAndre Washington and Jalen Richard. They're not running like they were last year either.
Yeah.
So, there's some validity to that.
What say you, Rob? Who's your guy on this?
I want to be disagreeable, and I could be. After all, we do have two Falcons on this list, and we saw them disappoint on Sunday Night Football, turning it into more of the snooze fest than it should have been as the game of the week that it was built up to be. I'm going to have to agree with Brian. Because I am a Marshawn Lynch owner, I drafted him to be my third running back. Now, due to a injury to David Johnson, he had to slide up to be my second RB2, but I thought I'd be okay. Thought I'd be all right. Was not all right. I had to turn my team into a reclamation project. So with all these old-ass running backs. But, yeah, I think it's got to be Marshawn Lynch. I think you expected more. You definitely thought he wouldn't be the same beast mode we saw in Seattle because, he is longer in the tooth. He did take a year off from football. But I still saw a promise for him with that offensive line. And that offensive line is absolutely shit the bed this year, and Marshawn Lynch has been the victim of that.
Yeah, I actually wound up just dropping Marshawn Lynch before that Thursday night game.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's ballsy right there.
Yeah.
I thought about it in terms of who I'm going to lay waiver claim on, which, certainly we'll get to some waivers later on in the show. But I thought about having him be the running back that I drop. I think I'm going to be a little bit more patient with him because I think this offensive line might be playing banged up. So hopefully, they heal some wounds and he'll be the benefactor then. But I could always drop like a Frank Gore, which was another one of my aging running backs that I tried to pick up to stop the bleeding, so to speak, of a 1-5 start. But, got a win last night, so now up to 2-5. But that's all right, though. When you're 6-1 in the other league, you can stomach that. But I don't know. I think I'm going to be a little patient with Marshawn, but the clock's ticking.
Clock is definitely ticking.
Oh, no, it's definitely ticking. See, I want to agree. I want to agree with you guys, but I'm definitely not. Like, I'm sorry. I mean, for me, the biggest disappointment here, and I mean, it goes in hand in hand with the epic implosion of the Atlanta Falcons' pride, starting with, the end of that Super Bowl, blowing that 17-point lead. I'm going with Julio Jones here. Julio Jones is a guy that almost everyone drafted, top 5, top 7 in their drafts, and he's done squadoosh. He's done nothing. Like, he's got 1 touchdown. That was literally the last-minute touchdown that they had on the Sunday night game that just put points on the board. Like, that's atrocious. That's your first touchdown all season. This is week 7. We just completed week 7. You have 1 touchdown grab. That is not worth the 7th overall pick or better.
He almost didn't have it either. He had to rip it out of somebody else's hands to get it.
That's what I'm saying, man. But you know what? But it's not just about the guy catching the ball. It's also, you got to put some blame on the guy throwing him the ball. And I think this is a good time. We can go ahead and segue this into, some fresh plays for week 8 at the quarterback position. I know one of them probably isn't going to be Matt Ryan for most people.
Oh, no, not for me.
So, well, Brian, start us off, my man. Like, who you got for your fresh plays for week 8?
Listen, man, I got two fresh plays. One's a little ballsy. One's kind of more of a sure thing. But, Carson Wentz against San Francisco, I think, is a dream matchup.
It's kind of like a done deal.
Yeah, like I said, it's a bit of a no-brainer. But Deshaun Watson against Seattle's a little ballsy. And I think, with the way that he's been playing so far this year, his receiving core is finally healthy. I think that O-line has stepped up, and he's got the running game going. I think Deshaun Watson could put up some numbers against the Seattle defense.
That's ballsy. That is ballsy. I like it, though. Rob, do you have any fresh quarterbacks for this week?
Sure do, man. I'm starting off with Phillip Rivers out in L.A. They're going against Brady and the Patriots in Foxborough, so this is definitely a risky proposition if you plan on playing him in your DFS leagues. But that defense has been putrid. I mean, we saw Dante Hightower get knocked out of the game last week. He did come back in, so that does bode well, as that defense has improved a little bit with his presence from getting knocked out for a few games earlier in the season. But that's not helping their secondary, and that's the Rivers has so many weapons to tear apart. New England's still ranked last in terms of points allowed to the quarterback position. So, I think he's a guy that you could definitely stream in leagues and definitely makes for a good play in DFS this week.
He definitely makes for a fantastic play in DFS this week. Funny enough, you guys kind of hit on a lot of my guys for this week, but I'm going to go with a pair of dueling quarterbacks this week, and they're actually both my DFS plays of the week, and one's kind of a variable. It depends on the health of a certain someone. I'm focusing on that Dallas-Washington divisional matchup here with Dak Prescott and Kirk Cousins. Both, quarterbacks coming red hot, coming off of big weeks, each of them. Kirk looked pretty good last night. Granted, they didn't come out with the win against that Eagles defense, but, he was able to move the ball down the field and put points on the board. I mean, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. I mean, that's not just doing a little bit of nothing, but, that Eagles team's not bad.
No, and Kurt, I only really saw one bad throw that he threw in that game was that one interception that he threw, where I believe it was Brandon Graham just blatantly grazed his elbow and he threw it directly to the defensive back.
Right.
I forget who it was, but he literally threw it right to him like he was throwing to him.
Yeah, and those things do happen. I mean, it's unfortunate, but hey, I mean, that's only his 3rd interception of the season, so it's not like he's just putting the ball up for grabs like he was for parts of last season. But no, I like both quarterbacks, as I said. I mean, Dak Prescott, this is a great matchup for him, barring the health of one Josh Norman. This is a great match. If Josh Norman's not playing, Des Bryant's going to victimize that secondary. Him, Cole Beasley, Jason Witten, they're just going to eat them up.
And chomp.
Yes. So says our resident Cowboys fan.
Yes. Me likey.
But since I'm speaking to the resident Cowboys fan, who are your sits for this week?
I got one more fresh play, and this is more of a sneaky play. I want to get his price up on FanDuel before I actually get into it real quick. But the man I'm talking about as a sneaky play this week is Case Keenum at Cleveland.
Ooh.
I mean, their defense, their secondary, they thought they could spare Joe Hayden. Well, maybe they might have wanted Joe Hayden back, or maybe they don't because he hasn't been playing too well in the Steelers either. But overall, the Browns are giving up the 26 most points to fantasy quarterbacks. So I'm not saying that I'm playing him in any of my league play, but as a DFS play on FanDuel for 6,900, I'm obviously that's going to be less on DK with a lower salary. I think he could be a nice play and a nice pairing with his man crush, and that's Adam Thielen. So I'm on the Case Keenum train too this week.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, plus, if you could potentially have the return of Stephon Diggs in that game, he might put up some big boy points.
That's truth. That is truth because, obviously they were waiting for the return of Sam Bradford, which he's just showing that he's soft. That knee is just not cooperating for him. And to tell you the truth, I think it's a blessing in disguise for the Vikings because I like Keenum's deep ball better. I mean, Sammy Sleeves is a much more accurate quarterback, and obviously if you had the choice, you'd be going with Sam Bradford, but he's built up that rapport with Thielen, like I said, and he can hit Diggs on that fly post and for a home run. All this being said, you also have Teddy B back in practice too, finally after a year and a half. So who knows if he enters this messy equation towards the end of the season. But, for now, you got to love Diggs. You got if he comes back. I mean, groin injuries always concern me, especially that first game back and with risk of re-injury. But I think they've been really cautious. I think he, might have given it a go last week. They basically were cautious, not throwing it to the wind, and held him off. Hopefully he plays this week.
I'm actually really glad you brought him up because I was going to bring him up, was Teddy Bridgewater. If everything goes right, they're planning a Week 10 return for him.
Yeah, I mean.
It has been announced Week 10? Wow.
Yeah, Week 10. I mean, that was a gruesome injury that he's returning from. So, Godspeed to him. Hopefully he returns back better than he was before the injury.
No, I didn't think he was going to return at all, to be honest with you. I really did. It was that gruesome. But, been out a year and a half. There's going to be a lot of ring rust.
Oh, yeah, you can only imagine.
Oh, yeah, it's Week 8. He's just started practicing last week. You give him a few weeks to get back into game shape. Get back under the ball, get used to playing football again. Week 10, Week 11, I could totally see him starting for the Minnesota Vikings, getting that team back to where they want to be.
Absolutely. All right, Rob, but like I said, who you sitting this week? Who you avoiding as your stale play?
My stale play this week? Well, the number one stale play for me has got to be, wait for it, Matt Stafford on Sunday Night Football. I know that's a bold statement. He does usually come forth with the fantasy points, but his last 3 games have not been, up to his normal level. I mean, he did throw up 312 against New Orleans, but had 3 interceptions and 2 fumbles in that game, being a turnover machine, which really ruined what could have been a great day, including 3 touchdowns. Before that, against Carolina, only 229 yards, Minnesota, 209 yards. Now, mind you, pretty good defenses, but guess what? Pittsburgh secondary has been pretty strong, much to Mikey Kleinkopf's happiness, giving up the second least points to fantasy quarterbacks. So he's my main stale play this week.
That's strong.
Strong.
Who you got, Brian? Who do you not got this week?
I don't got Russell Wilson this week against Houston. I think he's, with the lack of weapons that he has, even Jimmy Graham has come around. So is Doug Baldwin. But for the most part, Russell Wilson still has no weapons. He's the only one that's really much doing anything on that offense. And then I'm also not starting Jameis Winston against Carolina despite his big game last week.
Really?
I think that Carolina defense, even without Luke Kuechly, is going to give him a lot of trouble.
Now, Luke Kuechly hasn't been ruled out as of yet for this week. He's still in the concussion protocol. Even though he wasn't diagnosed with a concussion, he is in the protocol. So, that's just a wait to see whether he will actually suit up or not on Sunday. But, that's ballsy, man. I do like Jameis this week. I don't, based on just his recent string of performances, that's kind of like one of those players that's kind of an auto play right now.
It's a very tough Carolina defense. Their secondary is one of the tops in the league, in my opinion. And the inconsistency from Winston all year long is just, I have no faith in him, especially since he's one of my starting quarterbacks in I think the league that I'm in with you.
Possibly.
In terms of Jameis, though, I will get your back, but for a different reason. It's not so much just the Carolina defense, but it's also Tampa Bay's defense. And you're like, wow, he doesn't play against their defense unless it's practice. Let me explain. So they're getting healthier, especially in their linebackers. Hopefully they get Quan Alexander back this week. And as they get healthier, I noticed that with this Carolina team, we just saw that in a dismal display against the Chicago Bears, where their starting quarterback, Mitch Trubisky, only throws the ball 7 fucking times for 4 completions, and they win the game. Helps to get 2 defensive scores in that game. But that's my point that I'm getting to, is that I really see this game being a defensive battle, low scoring. And if you notice, the fantasy points that Jameis Winston has gotten this year has been in garbage time trying to make up a deficit, or off to a hot start, and then they kind of cool the jets with the muscle hamster. So either way, I think he'll have less opportunity to make a fantasy impact this week. So I'm supporting you, but in just a little different rationale.
I got you. And I love that you brought up the Mitch Trubisky thing. How the hell does that happen?
That's called being a terrible defensive football team. That's what that's called.
Terrible,
oh my God.
terrible,
Four
terrible.
for 7. And you still win the football game.
Hey,
that
man.
just blows my mind.
Hey, man, more power to him. God bless him. Mitch Trubisky, congratulations on your first NFL win. It'll probably be your last of this season. So congratulations on your first NFL win.
Only takes one, man. Only takes one.
Yeah, man. Unlike Deshaun Watson, it definitely only takes one sometimes. But, I mean, my guys for this week, do you guys have anybody else you guys are avoiding for this week? Because I got a couple guys. I'm not sure if either of you guys are going to touch upon them or not.
I'll throw 2 more out there. Because I see 2 more on my little list here that I'll rattle off. You're probably going to see Matt Moore starting for the Miami Dolphins with Jay Cutler already listed as doubtful for this week. I would not start him. It's a Thursday night game. I try to avoid – even though it kind of bit me in the ass a little bit this week, because the Thursday night game was quite an entertaining, productive game, as it were. But usually they're not. At Baltimore, I see another low-scoring game here. Matt Moore taking over this offense. And Baltimore, their defense has been pretty stout this year, only giving up the third least points to opposing quarterbacks. So he's a guy I'm staying away from. And in league play, I'm starting him. But in DFS, I'm avoiding them, and that's the one and the only Deshaun Watson at Seattle.
Ooh. See, that was one of the couple guys that I was looking at as well. I just don't like the matchup, you know what I mean, with Seattle. I mean, it's that defense, that secondary, it's too good. I believe they've only allowed 5 touchdown passes on the season. 5 through 6 games.
Damn.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, I got to look at that Houston offense. There's more than just the passing game. You got Lamar Miller, Deonta Foreman starting to come into form a little bit. He's thrown to Ryan Griffin.
Yeah,
so
but
he's got options out there. It's not just
he's got weapons, yeah. But Seattle's defense, they just don't allow touchdowns. You know what I mean? They don't even really give up yards, except for they give up yards at the running back position. So Lamar Miller might be a guy we talk about, a little bit later on, but. For the most part, this is not a defense that is a bend and break defense. You either hit a couple big plays to put you in position to put points on the board, or you don't. And I could see Deshaun Watson hitting a few plays, but I don't see him hitting those home run plays because Seattle just doesn't allow that.
Right.
So I'm there with you on that. A couple other guys that I'm going to throw out there that I'm surprised you guys didn't mention at all. One guy was mentioned, but on the other side of this, I'm sitting Drew Brees this week. I don't like the matchup at Chicago. Not for nothing. Even against quality quarterbacks, they really haven't gotten beaten up too bad this season. I mean, Jameis Winston, they only allowed 1 touchdown and a little over 200 yards passing. To Ben Roethlisberger this season, 235 and a touchdown allowed. To Matt Ryan, 321, only 1 touchdown allowed. This is a defense that's really kept quality quarterbacks in check, with the exception of Aaron Rodgers. I mean, but he's Aaron Rodgers, let's be real. And even then, they kind of did keep him in check. He only threw for $179 in that game.
The only way you keep – actually, you know what? That is keeping him in check.
Granted, he threw for 4 touchdowns.
Well, okay.
But
that balances that a little bit.
Yeah, but they did
They had a strong running game, obviously, getting him close in the red zone. But What I would say is the only way you keep A-Rod in check is break his collarbone. That's the only way you do that.
Which has already been done. So,
right.
Meh.
But yeah, you're right though. That Bears defense is very unheralded, very no-name defense, and I mean had 2 defensive scores last week. I could see your point. Ultimately, though, I don't know. I don't know if I could stay away from him.
More importantly, too, Drew Brees has thrown 4 interceptions in his last 2 games.
Yeah,
I mean, he's turning the ball over.
But he traveled so well into Lambeau. You don't think that continues in the Soldier Field? He didn't even have to really leave that far.
Well, no, that game is in New Orleans, but
it is in New Orleans. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said at Chicago. My bad.
I might have. That was my apologies if I did. But no, that game's in New Orleans.
All the more reason to play Brees then. I totally disagree now.
Nah, I don't see it, man. Defense travels. Like I said, I do like that Chicago Bears defense, but I'm gonna sprinkle one more in there for you, this is probably gonna segue into some conversation that me and you had last night, Rob. Matt Ryan. I'm just staying away from this at all costs. That offense is just too different from what it was last year. It's not explosive. They're not throwing the ball down the field. They're not utilizing Julio Jones and Taylor Gabriel. Like I just don't like anything I've seen out of this offense, and I'm not starting Matt Ryan until further notice.
It seems to be that the missing link here is Kyle Shanahan, and that offense just lacks zero pop without him. I mean, we talked about this earlier in the year, man, that the offensive coordinator was going to be the difference maker in this, and it turns out that he actually is.
I mean, you went up against a defense that allowed Josh McCown. I'm just going to say this game again. Josh McCown to throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, but your offense only musters 233 and a score. That's what Matt Ryan did on Sunday night against New England. 233 and a score.
Oh, that's all?
That's all.
And that's mere piddlings. I mean, you're absolutely right. I think you could call it Super Bowl hangover, just like our thumbnail shows, 28-3, blowing that lead. You could say that you moved on. You could say that it's time for a new season, time to work hard and put that in the past. It's still there. It's still there in the back of Matt Ryan's cerebrum, and it's showing. And I think Brian just made an excellent point. They are missing Kyle Shanahan to pieces, and I don't think Steve Sarkisian is the right man for this job. He's not operating this offense the way I've seen it to operate. I don't like their run-blocking scheme. I think that's limited Devontae Foreman a bit. You don't see that so much in the passing game, but in the running game that's been limited. And you got Julio Jones on your team, arguably one of two, whether order you have him or Antonio Brown or him. Throw the damn ball to him. Give him 15 targets a game at least.
It's still AB and him, but you know what I mean. Yeah, I mean, yeah, but you're right though. Give him the ball. So you're saying that this is more. Is this more of a implosion of their pride to the point I made earlier with Atlanta, or is this more? Or is this about just not using personnel properly, and this is a coaching staff issue?
I personally I think this is both. I think it's both. That Super Bowl collapse definitely played with Matty Ice's confidence. But on the other side of it, too, it's a coaching staff issue. It's a new offensive coordinator. I don't know if the system's different or not, but whatever it is, it's not working and it's not clicking.
Nah, I couldn't agree with you more, man. I really couldn't. And it's a shame, too, because it's a good football team.
Yeah, they didn't change personnel on the field at all this offseason. They didn't improve. They didn't really downgrade. They kept the personnel there from the Super Bowl. So
yeah,
it should still be there.
It's the same team. It's a shame.
Frank goes, "Where's Mike?" on YouTube. I don't think we addressed that. He's studying for his midterms today. That's why he's not joining us.
Yeah, Mikey. Mikey took the day off. Miss you, Mikey.
He did comment on the Facebook, though. He comes forth with his actually bust of the year is DeMarco Murray, and I think we were talking about DeMarco on the poll, too, putting him on.
That was a guy we were talking about on the poll. That's definitely a guy. You know what? We're going to get a little more into that on the other side after we pay some bills here on Fantasy Dominance Now, only on A2DRadio.com.
Welcome in to the worldwide leader of what? Real talk, A2DRadio.com.
Fellas, you ever come in from that baseball or football game and your woman won't come near you because you stink beyond belief? Then you need Soap Stash. You should never settle for a generic hygiene product that only covers up the stench. Treat your skin with the best nutrients. Feel clean with the only soap you'll need. The highest grade carrier oils are ingrained in all of their products, which are 100% natural and terrific for your skin. No sulfates, parabens, or phthalates, and synthetic fragrance free. Contact Soap Stash for your sample package and give your woman what she deserves. You can contact Soap Stash at 844-890-3197 or visit them on the web at soapstash.com or Facebook at Soapstash LLC. Once again, their number is 844-890-3197. Soap Stash, the new soap standard.
Get your skills in shape, then contact the Scanzano Sports Center, located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You can give them a call at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at www.scanzanosports.com. John Scanzano offers individual, semi-private, and team training lessons in hitting, pitching, catching, outfield, along with turf rentals. The Scanzano Sports Center is equipped with a 31,000 square foot indoor facility, 4 batting cages, and a 4,000 square foot strengthening and conditioning room. So what are you waiting for? Contact the Scanzano Sports Center today.
A2DRadio.com is sponsored by The Sports Outlet for all your sporting needs. Located 703 Black Horse Pike in Glendora, New Jersey. Give them a call at 856-939-2030 or email them at sportsoutletnj@comcast.net or visit them on the web at www.sportsoutletinc.com for all your sporting needs. The Sports Outlet.
A2DRadio.com is proudly sponsored by Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants. Gibson Mayer, located in Yardley, PA, is a leading accounting and business consulting firm with a proven track record of handling critical issues with expertise across many different industries, including construction, distribution, hospitality, manufacturing, real estate, service trades, merchandising, professional services, and professional athletes. Give them a call at 215-369-3300. That's 215-369-3300. Your initial consultation is always free, and if you tell them that Tom and Mike from AM and the PM sent you, you'll receive 15% off all income tax services completed by February 15th. That's Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants, 215-369-3300, or visit them on the web at www.gibsonmayer.com. That's gibsonmayer.com.
You're listening to Fantasy Dominance Now, only on A2DRadio.com.
And welcome back to Fantasy Dominance Now, live from the BMW of Atlantic City Studios, only on A2DRadio.com. And we are brought to you by Soap Stash. Treat your skin with the best nutrients and feel clean with the only soap you'll ever need. Made with the highest grade carrier oils and all their products, which are made and all their products and are 100% natural. Blech. Yeah, these Reed things just aren't. Nah, they're just not clean yet.
It's all right.
But that's okay because
Comes
you
with
know
practice.
what?
Practice. We're talking about practice.
Practice. But you know what though? You know what though? Soap Stash will get you clean.
Yeah.
Because it is good soap. I've used it personally. It's a great product. And you can just contact them on Facebook at Soap Stash LLC. You can also find them on their website at soapstash.com, or you can call at 844-890-3197. That's Soap Stash LLC.
Nicely done. See, when I start stumbling over the reads, then I got to speak personally. Have I used the product? Is it great? And of course, we use all the products here, all the amenities. I haven't gotten a BMW yet, but that's in the plans. That's in the future.
I've been fortunate enough. I've test driven quite a few BMWs, and I've actually almost bought a BMW from Atlantic City of BMW of Atlantic City. They're good people over there. Definitely check them out.
For sure.
So
Couple comments coming in on the Facebook real quick.
All right.
Mikey heard my diss on his boy Joe Hayden, so he comes in and goes, "Love me some Joe Hayden. Don't diss my man." Had a pick this week, and he has the best, or we have the best passing defense in the league right now. Hey, dude, that was one of my reasonings for one of my stale plays. No doubt about it, dude. I hear you. Frank Vespi is going with Marshawn Lynch. Skittlebrains ejection cost him his matchup. Tom Arnone supporting Matt Ryan, and I couldn't. I'm definitely if I wasn't a Marshawn Lynch owner, and then personally it busted me, that would have been my vote. Would be Matty Ice.
Well, that's why I went Julio, because in a league, Julio definitely has not been worth the trade value that I gave for him. 2 first-round picks in a dynasty league for Julio Jones.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah, he's not been a good return on value right now.
No, definitely not. And I'm with Rob. I'm a Marshawn Lynch owner, so that's kind of why I think he's been the bust this year.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you there. I mean, so we did talk. We went into a little bit about, the Atlanta Falcons, a little bit of their collapse. There's a few other big stories going on around the National Football League, and we're going to start right here with your Philadelphia Eagles. We know a lot of you guys are Eagles fans out there. Jason Peters, probably out for the season. It's being reported now that he does, in fact, have an ACL and MCL tear. You know what I mean? None of those reports that I've seen yet are substantiated, but yeah, that's going to be a big blow to this offense if he's gone for the season.
They really blow to the whole team. And did you see? I've never seen a whole team come out onto a field and offer their support, get behind him. It was that gruesome the way the defender rolled. I think, or it was his own man rolled right up onto his knee.
No, it was a defender.
It was a defender.
Yeah,
he got blocked into the knee. Yeah, so, I mean, not only gruesome, but it goes to show that he's been a leader on this team. I mean, I'm not familiar as not being an Eagles fan, but obviously just the way the crowd reacted, the way the players, went onto the field to support him. I've never seen anything like that before. And I know I'm a general, Eagles hater, but hats off to the Philadelphia Eagles, to their fans. Very classy.
That was classy.
Class.
That actually was very classy. I was very surprised because, not for nothing, I've been to plenty of sporting events in the city of Philadelphia, for the opposing team, and not so classy. So classy, Philadelphia.
Well, it brings up another hot topic that it kind of feeds right into that in terms of Chris Thompson being from the area, didn't want his family coming to the game.
Yeah.
And, I mean, a lot of times we say, well, every city has those unruly fans, but I've never, in terms of an opposing team's player from an area not having your family in attendance or whatnot, it does speak volumes when you have a jail in your – do they still have a jail in the Link like they did in the vet?
I don't think they do.
No, they don't.
No.
All right, so that joke doesn't work anymore. Okay. But, I mean, I think that Philly answered the bell in terms of, I mean, of course, it took, an injury to one of your team leaders to illustrate that class, which is unfortunate. But, there is a lot of class here. But with any basket of apples, there's a few rotten in the bunch.
Oh, no, absolutely. And
that's fair.
To be completely honest with you, I think it's a mixture of things. It's when a crowd gets unruly, and I've been to opposing stadiums, and I've never had an issue. if you're out there acting like an asshole and you've been drinking all day and you start getting personal with some guy who's busting your balls, fists are eventually going to start flying because it's going to be a bad situation that turns really ugly really fast.
Oh, you mean when you get drunk off your ass and you start running up and down the aisles at Giant Stadium with a big old Dallas Cowboys star? Is that what you're talking about? That type of asshole? Because I've been that asshole before.
I was about to say
he was that
guy.
guy.
Sounds like a personal experience.
Yeah, totally. Life experiences. Yeah.
Real talk, man. Hey, I've been that guy, that Mets fan in the vet. Yeah, with the shenanigans. Win those bad Philly teams. So yeah, I'm that guy too. That's okay. Anyway, though.
I think we all knew that. That's why there was no reaction, man.
Right.
You take pride in being an asshole, and it's a good thing. It's a positive asshole. I've always said you're a positive asshole. I can't get mad at you, but you're an asshole.
That's because I wear it. It's my badge of honor.
Yeah.
Just like this 0-7 right here on my sleeve. It's a badge of honor.
You own it, man. There's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely
shit.
not. This is what makes me the man. But you know who's not the man right now? Carson Palmer.
Oof.
He's not. Yeah, it's just bad news for him. Broken left arm, forearm, more than likely out for the season. It's a gruesome, brutal injury for him. Was just starting to click too. Had just got Adrian Peterson into that offense. They were, starting to look good. Granted, they are off to a terrible start on Sunday before this injury. But yeah, he's donezo. Looking like Blaine Gabbert's going to be the guy to step up to take the job now. He's kind of leapfrogged ahead of Drew Stanton, who came in on Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't even know they had Blaine Gabbert. So
that's where he went.
Yeah, exactly. Which is a shame, too, because, Blaine Gabbert has a job, but Colin Kaepernick doesn't. Come on, man. But that's neither here nor there. Yeah. I'm not going to go into that in this show. We can do that next week. Anyway, yeah, man, it's just rough, for Carson. I feel bad for him, and that team's done now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
How many injuries can one team take, really?
Yeah. Top number one running back, then you go acquire a new one. Number one quarterback. You really can't go acquire another one of those. Oh, wait. The New York Giants still suck. Can someone say Eli? Can someone say Eli Manning?
That's interesting. Wow.
Just saying. I'm gonna sprinkle. I'm gonna sprinkle some salt on that.
Would he leave New York and not ride out one team for his whole career? I could see it a lot. It's kind of what Carson Palmer did when he went to Arizona. So it
he
could
came
be
out of retirement to go to Arizona.
That's truth. Yeah. Man, I didn't even think about that. And hey, maybe they might pull that off because you went to go get AP to stay relevant.
Let's go.
And then you're going to be stronger for it when DJ comes back. But until then, if they don't address the quarterback situation, yeah, they're donezo, man, because the teams are going to stack 7-8 in the box on AP, and Blaine Gabbert's not hitting anything deep.
Is there a way for them to pull that trade off since we're 2 weeks past the deadline, or is this week the deadline?
I believe this week is the actual deadline. I thought week 8 was the deadline, so I believe it's this week was the deadline, but I could be wrong. It might have been 2 weeks ago.
I know it's either week 6 or 8. I can't remember which one, but I thought
it was 8.
But
I thought they pushed it to 8.
Just like baseball, though. At this point, if they work out a deal in a handshake in theory, can't they just cut Eli and then they do it through a waiver? In other words, a waiver trade.
No, I don't think it works like that. No, I don't think any other sport works like that except for baseball.
I'm not sure either. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. August being the waiver trade deadline and all. Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah. Another and this is, this is probably the worst news of the weekend. And I already went through some really terrible news for a lot of, very good people as well as football players. This one actually kind of made me feel bad. And I watched this happen live as well, and this was sad. Left tackle Joe Thomas was just placed on injured reserve with a torn tricep. You know what? This guy, not for nothing. We all know I joke about how bad the Cleveland Browns are all the time. They are the worst organization in all of professional sport. You cannot find a worse ran organization. You can't find just anything worse than the Cleveland Browns. But you know what? This guy was nothing but class. This guy, you know what I mean? He came to work every day, did his job, and did his job very well, to the tune of being a 10-time Pro Bowler, 10,363 consecutive snaps. That streak has now ended with this injury. And, more importantly, his consecutive start streak is now also ended. With this injury.
It sucks. All streaks come to an end at some point, and it's a shame how his came to an end. You never want to see a streak like that, especially for a player of his caliber to go down due to injury.
This could very well be the last season that you see Joe Thomas in Cleveland too, with his contract being up in 2008, with him being only under contract through 2018. He could very well be a cap casualty on a rebuilding franchise.
No, I mean absolutely. I mean, like I said, it's a bad situation. It sucks for him. Like you said, he's a guy. He comes to work every day, despite the fact he's in a terrible organization. The franchise is really going nowhere, but he's a 10-time Pro Bowler for a reason.
Yeah.
Comes to work every day.
Truth be told.
Keeps his mouth shut and does his job.
Yeah, it's a shame, man. It really is.
I literally cried when I heard the news about Joe Thomas, man. He's just such a good guy.
Right.
Never had the longest consecutive snap streak in NFL history to go down like this to an injury. You know what? It was a matter of time. It's going to hit everybody, right? Yeah. But he's just one of the good guys in football. You hate to see something like this happen.
Absolutely. You never want to see it happen to the good guys in the game. It's a shame.
Totally agree.
But unfortunately, the game does go on. This is not that's why they call it the NFL, not for long. You know what I mean? And hey, life goes on. And with that, you know what I mean? Let's keep it moving with some fresh plays, man.
Nice.
Because we got to, because the show must go on.
I like those headlines, though. It's sweet.
Thank you. I do what I do. Where you guys want to go now? You guys want to keep it in order and go running back, receiver? Or you guys want to throw some spice for life? You know
me, man. I always like to keep it in order, but let's do something different. Spice of life.
I like the spice of life. You know what? Let's jump into the tight end position.
Excellent.
You know what I mean? Just for the giggles and shits.
Yeah, let's do it.
Brian, who you got? Fresh tight end this week.
Well, I'm going to cannonball into this with Cameron Brate versus Carolina and Hunter Henry against the Patriots. I like what Hunter Henry's been doing the last couple of weeks. I know I was a little harder on him earlier in the year because he wasn't getting the looks. He wasn't playing the snaps, but it seems like Hunter Henry is becoming Phillip Rivers' #1 tight end guy. And last week's, 89-yard day, starting to show it. He's starting to become a little bit more and more consistent as the weeks go on. I think he's got a pretty good matchup against the Patriots.
Everyone has a pretty good matchup against the Patriots. I have a pretty good matchup against the Patriots.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I like it.
Me and my 5'2", 40.
That's all right. I'm over 6.
Rob, who you got fresh plays this week at the tight end spot?
Big man still moves, though. I'm going to start off with my boy Kyle Rudolph. He's on my 7-1 team. 6-1. It's going to be 7-1 after this week.
Woo! Shots fired.
Yes. Higher rollers.
Confidence.
I dominate. Best league in the world, though. I got to get you boys in this league. Higher rollers, live draft. We have a survivor pick every week, and it's not for the actual NFL teams. You're picking which teams are winning in the league every week.
Oh, wow.
And that comes with a $100 price tag, too.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's nice.
I like it. I'll pick myself every week.
Actually, 1 week I did go against myself because I didn't like the matchup, and that's the week was my one loss that I lost by 6 points. So that's how in tune I am this week. Anyway, you asked me about fresh tight ends, so let me start off with Kyle Rudolph at Cleveland in London. Normally, I don't like to go with these London games. Freakish shit happen. The NFL should just give up. Enough with these damn London games.
I love the London games. They just need to move Jacksonville there. It's simple. they actually play well there. It's like a home state. It's actually a home game for them.
It's truth. That is truth. But going against Cleveland, they've given up the second most points to opposing ends. Kyle Rudolph is starting to get targeted more in that offense, especially in the red zone. So, I project him in leagues to be anywhere from, I'd say, 8 to 10 points. Hopefully, if he gets into into the end zone, that could be double digits for you. Another guy I'm going with, and this is more of a DFS play, but it could be a league play too, is Jason Witten at Washington. Washington's given up the third most points to opposing ends, and on FanDuel, Jason Witten is 5,400, so you're still getting a value there. He was a little bit forgotten with this offense, but Dak remembered. And he's starting to hit him more with regularity, especially in the green zone. So
yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more there. He was actually one of my fresh plays as well this week was Jason Witten, and one of my DFS plays. Another DFS play was your boy Hunter Henry, who you've already mentioned for me. So you're kind of like just scraping me out here. But I'm gonna go with my sneaky DFS and start of the week, and that's Jared Cook. Looking like he's picking it right back up where he was with Derek Carr pre-injury. Last week, I believe it was 6 catches for 103 yards, if I'm not mistaken.
It was about 107 yards.
107, yeah. That's close enough. Horseshoes and hand grenades, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But yeah, no, he was tearing it up last week, and he's been he's got a very keen connection there with Derek Carr. I like that matchup moving forward. I also like on the sneaky Tyler Kroft this week as a potential league play or even a DFS play if you're really trying to save money. It's against Indianapolis. He's coming off a game where he had 4 catches for 23 yards and a touchdown. The more important thing being the touchdown. He could be a very sneaky, cheap DFS play at the position this week.
I never even thought of him because I keep thinking Tyler Eifert in Cincinnati, and
he's on IR, yeah.
Yeah, he's back. I feel bad for him.
You know what? He's a great player, just can't stay healthy, kind of like Rob Gronkowski.
Right.
And speaking of Rob Gronkowski, he's one of my stale guys this week.
He was my number 1 stale as well. I thought I was being bold with that, but apparently not.
Not at all, sir. You do have testicles of steel, though. I'll give you credit. But yeah, man, no, I don't like this matchup. San Diego, because I refuse to call them LA.
Stay classy, San Diego.
They've not given up a touchdown this season to the tight end position. Granted, they've played some good ones. They've played Zach Ertz. They've played Travis Kelce. They've played Evan Ingram there with the Giants. They played Julius Thomas in week 2 against Miami. Like, they've played quality tight ends that can do some damage, and they've kept them relatively in check. So I'm avoiding that. DFS, definitely in DFS. I mean, in league play, you're starting him as Rob Gronkowski, like
especially in redraft leagues. It's Rob Gronkowski. You got to start him
unless you have one of those other guys that we mentioned that's just in a better play. In which case, yeah, I'm sitting Gronkowski for that matchup because I like it better.
That's what I'm saying, man. Because chances are, if you are a Rob Gronkowski owner, you do have another tight end on your roster just
Absolutely.
for the injury risk,
right?
And if they're happen to be in a plus matchup, you could always hit us up. #AskFDM. We'll let you know if that's a plus matchup. Twitter, Facebook, no matter what, we're here for you to answer your questions all week to help you dominate.
Absolutely.
He only had 3 catches for 51 yards against Atlanta. Now, mind you, Atlanta's defense has improved, but not to the point where you relegate him to those mediocre numbers. I mean, that's definitely a season low. Gronk may be looking to crush because he's coming off of a bed, so that's the risk you take. But definitely avoiding DFS because you can get better matchups. I'll stick with you. The San Diego Chargers are giving up the second least points to opposing ends, so definitely a pretty stale play there.
Truth be told, Brian, who's your stale place?
My stale play, despite his game last night, is Jordan Reed. I mean, yeah, he had 2 touchdowns last night against the Philadelphia Eagles, but where's he been all year long? I mean, it's the same thing with Terrell Pryor, who I'll get into a little bit later. He's just not there. He's been non-existent all year. It takes him 7 weeks to finally find the end zone. He's supposed to be one of the top tight ends in the league, and he's not. And he's going up against the Dallas Cowboys, who I think, with their linebackers, can make Jordan Reed disappear all over again.
Yeah, which is very unheard of. Usually that was the way to attack this defense. They were very porous to the tight end position, but only really giving up the 5th least points to opposing tight ends. They've shored that up. I think Jalen Smith has a little something to do with that. I think also the defensive line has a little something to do with that too. They've been getting pressure on the quarterback exquisitely well, leaving limited time. Now, mind you, that could result in a check down to the tight end, but Jordan Reed's not that type of check down tight end. He's basically a wide receiver in a tight end's body.
No, yeah, they were saying that last night during the broadcast too, that same exact thing, but yeah, like his inconsistency all season long has been an issue, and go figure,
he's hurt all the time.
Well, right. Yeah, well, I mean, there's that. It's a Rob Gronkowski version, but the one time that I need him not to be existent, he scores 2 touchdowns. So I mean, maybe now that I'm not playing him next week, he'll go back to being invisible.
Possibly, but
probably.
I'm actually looking this up right now. I want to see for certain, but I know that Jordan Reed definitely is tops in the leagues in terms of yards per route run I'm definitely going to confirm that here in a little bit. So that could be the argument to this, that if he's attacking more of their secondary, he might be more of a better tight end play against what this defense has done against the typical tight end.
Actually, and I did hear this in the game last night, actually his tight end mate, Vernon Davis, is actually leading the NFL in yards per reception at the tight end position. So like that might be I might actually go the other way on that if you're going to play one of the two. I might lean towards Davis only because he's the one getting the ball down the field and really moving the sticks.
Welcome back to the NFL, Vernon Davis. Jeez.
Yeah, right?
Kind of left Denver and fell off the face of the planet. He goes to Washington and he gets revived. Wow.
Oh yeah, well they're utilizing him right. He's a guy. He's always been another guy that's basically a wide receiver in a tight end's body. You know, he can run. He runs very, very well. He runs like a wide receiver.
Yeah, Reed's 8th in it was an average depth of target, and that's sort of a different way to say that. Obviously, hitting him more down the field.
Right.
I think he's more of that. I mean, Vernon Davis is more of that typical, prototypical tight end. But if he's running the same routes, maybe they're showing a different facet of his game.
I mean, I look at Vernon Davis' last 4 games: 5 for 58 and a touchdown, 2 for 89, 3 for 65, 4 for 67. He's getting the ball down the field.
Absolutely,
in chunks.
Absolutely. I'm going to throw up one in terms of a stale play that has been catching steam a lot recently, and that's ASJ, Austin Seferian-Jenkins, scoring 3 touchdowns in 3 consecutive games. He's definitely been a DFS darling of mine. He's helped me win some money. He's not going to be helping anybody win money this week going up against Atlanta. I just said what they did to Rob Gronkowski. They're overall on the year giving up the 6th least points to opposing tight ends. I think people are going to start to chase him. I think he's going to be chalky on DFS based on his past 3 games, and I think he's bound to disappoint you in FanDuel or DraftKings.
I couldn't agree with you more. I could not agree with you more.
I got one more.
Go for
it. I got Zach Miller versus New Orleans. And this isn't a shot at Zach Miller, just more a shot at Mitchell Trubisky. I just don't like the guy that's throwing the ball to Zach Miller. I mean, he's starting to see more and more targets, mainly because there's no wide receiving core left in Chicago. But I just don't see the value. The matchup is okay. I mean, New Orleans has decent linebackers that can cover tight ends. It's just not a good matchup.
No.
Just overall.
Yeah.
Both sides of the ball.
It's really not. It's just, I'm good.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree with you more there, man. It's bad. But you know what else is bad? When your top 2 defenses are on bye week. That's always bad.
Oh.
So with that being said, obviously I'm sliding right into that defensive play of the week, those fresh plays. And it's tough pickings for some people, man. I mean, Jaguars, Rams, both on bye this week, number 1 and number 2, respectively, in fantasy in terms of defensive points and special teams points. Ryan, who are you starting this week?
I'm definitely starting Minnesota against Cleveland.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a sure thing. And then, I'm sticking with my ballsy routine today, and I'm going with Washington versus Dallas. I would play either one of those.
Yeah.
More specifically, I would play Washington.
I think that game's going to be a shootout, man. I'm avoiding both of those defenses, but I'll get into that in a minute.
I just like the front 7 in Washington, led by Ryan Kerrigan, who's a monster among men in this league. I think he's one of the top defensive linemen in the league. I think he's going to put a lot of pressure on Dak.
Does he moonlight as a professional wrestler?
He might. He might.
He could be Braun.
I love Ryan Kerrigan. He's so good. I just picked him up. If you guys have IDP and you don't have Ryan Kerrigan, I will go out and get him.
Well, it's an interesting point that you make there, Brian, because Ezekiel Elliott coming off of an absolute monster game last week, obviously difference night and day in terms of the front 7s that we're talking about. We've seen him get shut down earlier in the year with strong front 7s, notably the Denver Broncos. And overall, comparison to his outstanding rookie season, his yards after contact are down by almost 2 yards per carry. So if indeed your assessment of the strength of their front 7 is as you say it is, yeah, if you limit Zeke, you're going to limit this offense. You're going to make Dak try to beat you. He's shown that he can do it, but I want to see it a little bit more consistently, and it'll all depend on Josh Norman. Is he playing? Is he not playing?
I think another thing that comes into this, and I'm not exactly sure what's going on with this whole thing, but, Ezekiel's suspension. Is he going to play Week 8?
It's been announced he will be.
Yeah, he's already. Yeah, that they announced that last week that he was gonna that the NFL lawyers were denied their request to expedite the hearing process. So he will play this week, and you will have a decision by next week whether he's going to have to fulfill that suspension or will it be postponed until after the season.
And Norman's actually targeting a Week 9 return because it was 4 weeks 2 weeks ago.
Right.
So chances are he will be ruled out unless something miraculous happens this week.
Okay. So then, yes, you definitely are going to play both quarterbacks, both Dak and Kirk Cousins this week in a shootout.
And then maybe ignore that comment I made about starting Washington or Dallas's defense.
Hooray!
Yay!
Don't go against your gut, man. This is the NFL. Shit does not work out the way that the numbers put it out to be. I wouldn't be surprised if it is. It's a divisional game, and certainly if the Dallas Cowboys can get after Kirk Cousins, make him uncomfortable as the Philadelphia Eagles did last night, you can see how his game starts to wither away.
Yeah, but he still put up three touchdowns last night. I mean, they still put up what did they put up 24 points last night?
24? I think it was 34-24.
Yeah, they still put up 24 points last night. I mean, a 34-24 game, I don't want to play either defense.
Truth. But here's the thing, if you're just looking at it, depends on the scoring system in your league, right? If it's heavy on the yards and points allowed, then I think Doug's right here, right? If it's heavy on turnovers, sacks, right? That could be an interesting part of this game.
That could
be. What I mean? In terms of, both teams getting after each other's, quarterback. I already said in regard to Kirk Cousins, and our pass rush has been pretty spot on, right? The Cowboys' offensive line, a little banged up, not playing as stellar as they did last year, making maybe Dak's life uncomfortable too and prone to sack.
Yeah, I mean, on that Dallas defense, on the pass rush alone, Sean Lee's a pest.
Yeah.
Sean Lee, he's always there.
I mean, DeMarcus Lawrence is leading the NFL in sacks. I mean, and I own him in DFS as well. I mean, you know what I mean? That's big time. The defensive lineman, big time. Yeah. So, Rob, who you starting real quick?
Who am I starting for defense?
Yeah,
I agree with the Vikings. I'm definitely starting him in league play. On FanDuel, I don't know if I could. Yeah, because they're the second most expensive defense at $5,300. So I'm going to give a $500 savings here, and that's with the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah,
they're one of my fresh plays this week going against Indianapolis. Certainly they've been giving up the most points to opposing defenses. I mean, Brissett has been playing well, but I think Cincinnati with Vontaze Burfict back in the lineup can turn the ball over.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that he kicked somebody in the side of the head this week.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what?
Maybe he'll be gone again.
No, leave
right?
Listen, leave Vontaze Burfict alone. This is the NFL I grew up and I loved. Stop messing with it. Stop it. Anyway, real quick, I'm going to throw a couple of mine out there. Obviously, you already said mine with the Bengals. You know what I mean? I'm going to throw the Saints out there as a great DFS play as well this week, going up against a very weak Chicago offense. I mean, let's be real. Mitch Trubisky threw the ball 6 times. So, just saying. You stole my other one with the Vikings. I'm actually going to throw a game at you that you could also start both teams. And no, it's not the one that you mentioned that you're dead wrong on. It's the Steelers and the Lions. I'm starting both of those defenses.
Oh.
I think that's going to be a defensive battle. I just don't like the matchups going either way. Darius Slay versus Antonio Brown. That front seven versus Le'Veon Bell. And then on the other side of that, I don't like Matt Stafford versus that secondary. More importantly, I don't like Matt Stafford's offensive line versus that pass rush.
Yep. That was another reason why I put Stafford as a stale play.
And real quick, I'm just going to throw a couple stale plays out there as well. Obviously, like I said, Washington, Dallas. I'm not touching either defense this week. You know what I mean? I don't know why you would, but if you ever started a New England defense for some reason, you just need to stop. So just stop. And I had one more on here, and I lost it now. Oh, crap. I'm sitting the Texans defense this week. I don't like the matchup against Seattle. I just don't.
Yep.
I just think that the offense on the other side is not going to be able to do enough to keep the defense fresh enough to deal with Russell Wilson moving around as much as he does.
That was one of my stale plays as well, the Texans at Seattle. But to maybe sort of punt off that, or as a contrarian pick, so to speak, I'll go with the Bills. versus Oakland. Now, Bills have been a pretty staunch defense, but we saw what Oakland did against another pretty staunch defense, and that's the Kansas City Chiefs on Thursday Night Football coming back to win that game. So I'm definitely sticking away from the Bills in league play. Another popular DFS play this year has been the Los Angeles Chargers, a.k.a. San Diego Chargers, but they're going against New England this weekend. I'd stay away from that as well.
Couldn't agree.
I'm actually going to argue yours. I agree with the game, the Seattle-Houston game, but I would start the Houston defense over Seattle's. I would sit Seattle's defense. I think Deshaun Watson is going to go off on this defense.
I'm not saying
in some way, shape, or form, and it's just going to be. I think it's good. This is going to be a good game.
It's going to be a very good game. I think he's a stud, though. I think he's an absolute stud. But you know what? You know who else is a stud? Our wide receivers, running backs, and kickers. They're all studs, and they'll be on and we'll get into that on the other side. This is Fantasy Dominance Now, only on a2dradio.com.
You're listening to the worldwide leader of Real Talk, a2dradio.com.
Hi, folks. Bob Manor.
Fellas, you ever come in from that baseball or football game and your woman won't come near you because you stink beyond belief? Then you need Soap Stash. You should never settle for a generic hygiene product that only covers up the stench. Treat your skin with the best nutrients. Feel clean with the only soap you'll need. The highest grade carrier oils are ingrained in all of their products, which are 100% natural and terrific for your skin. No sulfates, parabens, or phthalates, and synthetic fragrance free. Contact Soap Stash for your sample package and give your woman what she deserves. You can contact Soap Stash at 844-890-3197 or visit them on the web at soapstash.com or Facebook at Soapstash LLC. Once again, their number is 844-890-3197. Soap Stash, the new soap standard.
A2DRadio.com is proudly sponsored by Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants. Gibson Mayer, located in Yardley, PA, is a leading accounting and business consulting firm with a proven track record of handling critical issues with expertise across many different industries, including construction, distribution, hospitality, manufacturing, real estate, service trades, merchandising, professional services, and professional athletes. Give them a call at 215-369-3300. That's 215-369-3300. Your initial consultation is always free, and if you tell them that Tom and Mike from AM and the PM sent you, you'll receive 15% off all income tax services completed by February 15th. That's Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants, 215-369-3300, or visit them on the web at www.gibsonmayer.com. That's gibsonmayer.com.
A2DRadio.com is sponsored by the Sports Outlet for all your sporting needs. Located 703 Black Horse Pike in Glendora, New Jersey. Give them a call at 856-939-2030 or email them at sportsoutletnj@comcast.net or visit them on the web at www.sportsoutletinc.com for all your sporting needs. The Sports Outlet.
A2DRadio.com is proudly sponsored by Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants. Gibson Mayer, located in Yardley, PA, is a leading accounting and business consulting firm with a proven track record of handling critical issues with expertise across many different industries, including construction, distribution, hospitality, manufacturing, real estate, service trades, merchandising, professional services, and professional athletes. Give them a call at 215-369-3300. That's 215-369-3300. Your initial consultation is always free, and if you tell them that Tom and Mike from AM and the PM sent you, you'll receive 15% off all income tax services completed by February 15th. That's Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants, 215-369-3300, or visit them on the web at www.gibsonmayer.com. That's gibsonmayer.com.
Hi, folks. Bob Mannery here. You're listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes.
And welcome back to the BMW of Atlantic City Studios. This is Fantasy Dominance Now, only on A2DRadio.com. Keep that rolling on the low. Just keep it underneath a little bit. I like this. Let it ride for a minute. And this segment of Fantasy Dominance Now is brought to you by the BMW of Atlantic City Studios. BMW of Atlantic City has challenged its talented sales team. They must sell 100 vehicles, which means you save. Right now, at least a certified pre-owned elite 2017 BMW 320i X-Drive for just $299 a month for only 36 months. BMW, the ultimate driving experience, is closer than you think. BMW of Atlantic City, easy to get to, minutes off of exit 37 off the Parkway. Or you can just go online at bmwofatlanticcity.com.
Hot beats, right?
I dig
I
it,
like
brother.
that bed, Brendan. Is that a new one?
It's one that's not often used, or hasn't been used in a while, and I decided to brush it off, especially with the Bob Menery sweeper.
Just brush it off. Just brushing it off.
Which just really shows where this station's going, man. A big get for us, Bob Menery. If you've never heard of him, you got to look him up on Facebook, man. He does all these voiceovers, all these broadcaster voiceovers for all the Madden glitches, lots of videos. He blessed us with a few sweepers and show intros or what have you. So certainly a lot of things going on here at A2D Radio, and that's why you kind of see a little bit of this reshuffling today. I'm going to be starting to take a little back seat from the show and helping the station grow on our platform and beyond. Definitely exploring other opportunities there, but we'll always be available for fantasy questions. I'm going to continue to run the Fantasy Dominance Now Twitter, but lots of new interesting stuff upcoming.
Yeah, speaking of, I mean, since we still got, since we're still doing fresh plays, you guys want to plug ourselves real quick? That way, if the people want, to hit us up with more questions, the people know how to reach us. So, Brian, where are you at?
I'm at Brian_A2D Radio on Twitter.
Nice. Very nice.
And you know me, man. I never am abashed from plugging away, whether it be females or shameless plugs like Mick Foley.
Very good.
But, yeah, you can catch me on Twitter at RobbieBLTZ, on the Instagram, same name, Facebook, Rob Pove. Look me up, man. I'm here to help you dominate.
Yeah, man. I mean, and you guys can find me on Facebook, Doug Pitchford. You can also find me on Twitter at StatMagnet85. Also, you can just hit up the show page on Twitter at Fantasy Dominance Now. And you can also hit up us up on Instagram at, at Fantasy Dominance Now, right? On the gram.
I'll get confirmation on that. This was just created, a new thing for the show and what have you.
Just to help you, the people, reach us a lot easier,
Well, we have somebody that's reaching out to us now on YouTube who has a question for us.
Hey, are you mocking me right now?
Little
What
bit.
What it do?
Little bit.
How you doing?
The Instagram is A2D_radio_ Fantasy Dominance.
Ooh. Oh. And that's what you can find us at the gram at. That's a lot of underscores and a lot of ats, but
No ats, just underscores.
same difference.
Same shit, different toilet.
Basically.
I used your line.
You really did. Everybody's stealing my shit today. I love it, though. It means I'm an innovator.
Well, if you were taking my normal roll, I'm gonna take your normal roll. Different tie. You know what I mean?
I got you. I got you. I got you, Mikey. I got you.
Oh yes, calling people by the wrong names.
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
up names. Yeah, that's my MO. Sorry, Mikey.
We miss you, kid.
All right, so real quick, speaking of, people coming asking us for advice, Zach Crane is chiming in on YouTube. He wants to know our thoughts on dropping Isaiah Crowell for either Dion Lewis or Gio.
Dion Lewis, absolutely. I wouldn't even hesitate without a doubt. Yeah, that's my number one priority. If you can also get Alex Collins, he's also a guy that I would look to drop him for. But that's somebody we're going to get into later when we get into some waiver wire ads.
But as far as dropping Isaiah goes, in a heartbeat I would.
Yeah.
Or honestly, either one of them.
I was already thinking about
Desperation.
dropping the Crow there because poor performance seems like they're favoring more of the passing game with Duke Johnson.
Yeah.
He has not. He's definitely disappointed. If you talk about biggest disappointment so far this year, I thought Crow was going to have a good year.
So did I.
Right, and he has not come even close. And now that year takes an even bigger hit with what we talked about earlier, the injury to Joe Thomas.
Yeah, I mean, has he even broken 100 yards in a single game yet?
I don't think he's breaking 75 yards in a single game yet.
Fair enough then. I mean, there you go, Zach. For me, you take either or. Take Doug's advice. Dion Lewis or what was his name?
Alex Collins.
Alex Collins.
He's a Baltimore Ravens running back.
There you go, Zach. Hope we helped you out, man.
His season
we
high.
did help him out. Not hope. We did.
Fair enough.
Time
All right.
Isaiah Crowell's season high is 60 yards against the Jets in Week 5.
Ouch.
Yeah, see? Not even 75 yards.
Wow.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Yep, he has not broke double digits in this half-point PPR league that I'm, and that's a half-point PPR. Imagine even standard. Definitely not a full-point PPR because Duke Johnson's catching all the balls.
Yeah.
Right on. Was there any other questions that we didn't get to during the break?
That's all I got on YouTube. We got anything on Facebook over there, Rob?
Anything? Did you not? Any questions we didn't get to during the break on the book?
No, man. People are disappointing us. Got to give us some more questions.
Yeah, man. I mean, hey, we got all the time in the world to answer them, though. You know what I mean? This is the beauty of social media.
I have a question that was hit off to me offline that I answered, but I'll allow you guys to answer. Is it time to drop and give up on stashing of Andrew Luck?
Ooh, I say yes. I'm actually in the process of finding a player that's worth dropping him for right now, though, which is more the problem I'm having in one of my leagues.
I'd have to say yeah. I mean, unless you're in a dynasty league and you have no other choice but to hold on to him, I would say yes. I mean, how long are we gonna have to wait?
Yeah.
That's my big thing. Is
Well, what answer did you give?
I would totally drop him.
Hey, no, I know. I'm not. I know you. I know you, Brian.
Oh, my bad.
I was talking to Rob.
Say again.
So what did you actually tell this person?
What did I tell him?
Yeah.
I tell him not yet.
Not yet?
I'm continuing. I'm going to stash him because I like the playoff matchups for the Colts. And if you can get him back into where even if the Colts are out of it, right, you can take the standing script right out of the book. You can take that narrative right out of the book because what they're going to do is want to build up Andrew Luck for 2018. Yes,
right.
I did have to look at my computer because sometimes I forget what year it is. Right, but since I'm not on camera, I had to describe that to people. But basically, the bottom line is that I think he's going to get a lot of pin action, as we used to say back in the day, late in this year, trying to build him up for next year. And I think it makes for a great streamer option come playoff time. Now, obviously, you have a decent quarterback if you're considering playoffs. So why would you get rid of him? If push came to shove, if you absolutely needed that slot and you have low bench spot to add that guy because maybe you have a late injury, a 4 o'clock injury, something like that, yeah, that would be time to cut bait with him. But until then, I'm still holding strong until I hear that he's done for the year. He's on the PUP list.
That's my biggest concern about the whole thing, though, is we don't know what's going on with him. Nobody's given us a clear-cut answer. It's just, he's week to week. He's not expected back before week 9. We don't know. So to me, it's not worth the hassle. So I drop him.
Right. Nah, I'm kind of there with you.
And you're legit in that.
Yeah, I'm kind of there with you. But again, I mean, it just depends on your league. I mean, if there's players worthy of rostering, obviously you can drop them and pick one of them up. But if you're in my situation where there's really nothing out there that you like, why are you dropping a player that could really pay dividends later on? Like, there's no rush to go out there and do it. So it just depends on your situation, because every single one is different.
Yeah,
and speaking of situations, we got a very similar situation with the kickers this week. Top 2 kickers in fantasy are both on buys.
Oh, it's a situation? I got to call my boy.
That's a situation.
Down to Jersey then.
No, don't call that boy. Don't call that boy, man. We don't need those situations.
Don't believe what you see on TV. Kickers. All right, let's go.
Kickers. The kicking situation is going to be an interesting one this week. Brian, who are you starting?
I'm starting Will Lutz against the Chicago Bears. I think he's going to – the Saints are going to see a lot of time on the opposite side of the field. And I'm also going to start Stephen Hauschka against the Oakland Raiders. To me, he's one of the top kickers in the league.
Couldn't agree more.
And he's going up against a decent Oakland defense who's gonna give him a hard time. Oakland might not see the end zone as much as they saw against the Chiefs, against the Bills, but Stephen Hauschka will be there to kick some field goals.
Yeah. I mean, I'm leaning. I love Hauschka. That was one of my guys this week. But I already told you what 2 defenses to play, this week in that matchup, Pittsburgh and Detroit. Well, I'm also telling you to play both of their kickers this week, Pittsburgh and Detroit. Because, points will be scored, but just very few and far between. Therefore, there'll be very many field goals kicked. I would estimate probably like 6 or 7 in that game. So, with that being said, I want to play both kickers because I want my 3-4 field goals.
Word? Have a field goal Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
Like we saw with, Tennessee and Titans play again. All right, folks, I got to admit this week I'm a little out of touch. I had a medical emergency Saturday night into Sunday. We're just going to leave it there. That's a story for another day that will never come. But I was a little out of commission on Sunday, so I'm a little froggy on what actually went down week 7. But I did catch up a lot on NFL Network. Thank God for NFL Network. Watch a lot of video after the fact. And one guy that I was really high on this weekend was for kicker was Kai Forbath. Put up 23 points in most leagues. He was 6 for 6 in field goals made. Matter of fact, he's only missed 1 field goal on the year, and that was back in week 4, posting double-digit efforts in 4 out of 7 games. So I'm rolling with him. I know they're at Cleveland, where he might be scoring more extra points than field goals, but this Vikings defense does stall out on its own. It doesn't matter who they're going up against.
By the way, actually, that might bode well for your field goal picks because it was actually Tennessee and Cleveland. That was the field goal fest last week.
That's right. It was yes. Thank you.
So this might actually bode well.
Yeah. Awesome. I streamed him last week. I will stream him again this week in league play for DFS. A guy that I'm looking at, and he too has been absolutely accurate. Hold on, let me get the full list up here. I forgot to do kickers this morning. My apologies.
Oh. And it shows.
Yeah. It's Randy Bullock. Really deep sleeper. He's kicking for the Cincinnati Bengals, going up against Indianapolis, which has given up the most points to the position. And I'm just going to look up his FanDuel price really quickly as I stammer to continue to keep your attention.
As you stammer.
4,600. So you save a little money on kicker. I'm always looking to save a little money on kicker so I can try to squeeze in like 2 elite RBs or an RB or a wide receiver.
I used to be of that mindset. I stopped doing that only because I want to play the kicker that's going to get me at least 4 field goals. That's like my new way. That's my new way to do it.
Well, this is both, though.
Yeah.
This is both.
Yeah. I mean, usually it doesn't work out that way, though, unfortunately.
Truth.
More often than not, it doesn't.
Truth be told.
But, Brian, since we got fresh kickers, you got one more?
I don't have one more, but I got Esteban Curiel. I hope I didn't butcher your name, commenting in on YouTube.
What's up?
He wants to know if it's okay to start Amari Cooper now after his blow-up game against Kansas City Chiefs.
Ooh.
I'm going to go ahead and say yeah. I mean,
I'm going to refrain from answering that until we get to the receiver position in about 20 seconds.
Well, here's the reason why I'm going to say yes. 2 weeks ago, I believe, who did he play? It doesn't really matter. Goes 5 for 6 after dropping a bunch of balls 2 weeks before. Goes 5 for 6, not for many yards. I believe it was 29 yards. Blows up against the Chiefs. for what was it?
The
100
Chargers.
Chargers.
Okay. He goes for 100 plus, probably like 120 plus, 2 touchdowns.
Right. He's definitely shored up the dropsies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's safe to say that Amari Cooper can start going back in the lineups. I was smart enough to throw him back in the lineup last minute just off a gut feeling. Dropped me 41 points on a game where I just absolutely smoked the guy I was playing.
Well, I'm glad Esteban brought this question up particularly because I did some research on this Amari Cooper for the weekly wrap-up article this week. And obviously, as I told you, I had to do a lot of research this week.
Oh, yes, you did.
But not all of Cooper's disappointment this year has been on his shoulders. The Raiders weren't moving him around enough. They were keeping him to one side, and he was getting taken out of games, kind of a la the Belichick style of play. But the Raiders really put Amari in a position to break out versus the Chiefs by moving him around and particularly having him run out of the slot, which certainly can attack a lot of teams' defenses. A lot of times your third cornerback is not your strongest.
Nope.
Let's face facts. And you see a lot of guys that in this league that don't shadow. They'll stay to one side. So basically, he was targeted 11 times out of the slot position alone this week. I don't have the snap count right in front of me, but the targets is what matters here.
Right.
That's what we're concerned about on the fantasy game. So
Absolutely.
I think, obviously, with a 210-yard day and 11 catches on 19 targets, he obviously got fed the ball a lot. I think you absolutely time to roll back Cooper. He's back.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
All right. Well, I was gonna wait because he was actually one of my picks this week was Amari Cooper. But you know what? I disagree. I think he's a stale play this week. I was not touching him this week, not one bit. Going up against a Buffalo secondary. Buffalo on both sides, both in the run game and in the passing game, has been one of the top defenses in the league. They're arguably the best defense going right now in the league. I do believe they've actually not allowed a 100-yard receiver yet this season, if I'm not mistaken.
I think they had to have because they're ranked 17th.
No, but I'm talking about a single receiver.
A
over
single
100.
receiver,
I don't
yeah.
think they've allowed that this season.
They've had a lot of fantasy points to the position overall, though. This is kind of a reason why I picked them as a stale defense. I'm going to disagree with you. Because it's at Buffalo, though, you have some rationale there. You have some reasoning, but I don't know. I think they found something with Cooper.
I don't know, man. I mean, listen, first off, they've only allowed 3 touchdowns to the position all season.
That's true.
Which was a lot more of
the last 3 games, though.
Yeah, granted, it has been over the last 3 games. But again, I mean, look at the receivers they were playing. A.J. Green, Julio Jones, Mike Evans.
Truth, yeah. They'll get it. It's surprising it wasn't more than one. Maybe that's a credit to their defense.
Right.
It should have been 2 or 3.
Right, that's kind of more where I'm going with this. And I mean, even in the games before that, they played Calvin Benjamin and shut him down. They played Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders, and they did nothing. And I don't count the Jets because they don't count as a professional offensive football team.
The never yets. Now they're not quite. It's just never yets.
No, they're not quite because that defense is quite good. For as victimized as they get, I mean, that's not on the defense being bad. That's on the defense being tired.
Right.
Thanks for the question there, Esteban.
But, yeah, no, don't start him this week. Next week, definitely.
I'm all for starting him this week. I'm going to ride him as long as I can.
Well, I mean, did you get through your stale kickers real quick?
Stale kickers, no.
All right, here, throw in your stale kickers real quick so we can get back to the receiver position since we're on it.
All right, real quick. I'm staying away from Robbie Gould versus Philly, and I'm actually staying away from Chris Boswell versus Detroit.
Okay.
I just see a lot of inconsistencies in that Steelers offense, and I just don't think we're going to see the same offense we saw last week.
Well, yeah, that's why, like I said, I said to play both those kickers because I don't see the same offense, but I do think they're the only points that are going to be scored in that game is coming off of legs. So, but yeah, at the receiver, since we were talking receivers, I mentioned Amari Cooper is my stale receiver for this week. Let's just jump in. Let's just go right into the stale receivers since we already kind of broke that ice.
Ice.
Who are you not starting this week, Brian?
I'm not starting Terrell Pryor. I've been saying this for a couple weeks now. He's going to be losing snaps to Josh Doxson. Yeah. So that's even more reason to not start.
He did lose snaps to Josh Doxson.
Fair point.
I believe he only played 28 snaps last night, if I'm not mistaken.
He didn't get his first catch until I know it was the end of the fourth quarter. I know that. But Terrell Pryor's seeing less and less field. Stay away from Terrell Pryor. And also, I'm still staying away from T.Y. Hilton until they get that situation handled out in Indianapolis. I don't trust anybody over there right now.
They're playing. I mean, normally I would say yeah, but I do think. I mean, in PPR league, I think you still have to start him.
No, he's the number one there. I mean, I still think in
Depends
PPRs,
on the matchup for me. Yeah, he's like
he's going up against Cincinnati.
A matchup play, I might sit him this week. I'm going to have to think about that because I am a T.Y. Hilton owner.
So
but in weeks where, like, let's say if he were going up against Indy this week, or no, he's on that team, on Cleveland. I meant to say Cleveland, Freudian slip. Those are times where you could still get value. He's definitely streamable, right? Once he gets Andrew Luck back, he's an automatic ride or die every week, right?
Agreed.
But in this given matchup, I can dig what you're saying, man. I can dig what you're saying. What I could also dig is that the Buffalo Bills defense has given up 100-yard game, and that was to the aforementioned A.J. Green. They have let up almost, like, do you consider 98 yards a 100-yard game?
Yeah, I can consider.
Right.
You can round up.
2 of those, both the tight ends, Charles Clay and O.J. Howard.
Ooh.
So that might be the way that maybe this is a Jared Cook day.
Well, I did.
Let me throw
that in.
Yeah.
And I already mentioned to play him this week for that reason.
Yes,
so.
exactly. So that's the rationale there. Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, I can see that though with what you're saying before with sitting him. Who else are you not? Who else is sitting for you this week?
That's all I got this week.
That's all you got this week, Rob. Who are you sitting this week?
It's Sunday night game. Usually the stars come out to shine unless you're the New England Patriots, Atlanta Falcons. That game was so disappointing. Maybe because I was hungry for football all day and it just didn't live up to its bill. But
did you not see that fog? Did you not see that fog?
That was the only cool part about it. It was like good Halloween theme.
That's what I'm saying. Like
England.
that actually made me enjoy the game because I was like, oh, this is so awesome because they're playing. They can't see more than 3 feet in front of them, if that. This is awesome.
Maybe I was just salty because I played a lot of Falcons in that game on DFS. Yeah. That's probably why I'm salty.
I could see
That's
that.
why I'm salty. But this week it will be the Detroit Lions versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. I am staying away from the Golden Taint this weekend. I don't think he makes a good play against that secondary, as Mikey chimed in on the Facebook that their secondary has been quite stout. Golden Tate. He may not even go this weekend. He is listed as doubtful right now as he's dealing with a sprained AC joint. So that is another reason why I had concerns about him, and he was on my stale side. So if you're looking at other Detroit options, Marvin Jones may be a play, but I'm still staying away from it against the Steelers, who are giving up the least points to opposing wide receivers. Beyond that, another game I'm staying away from in terms of their wide receivers, and that's Miami Dolphins. You got Matt Moore coming in. Now, I think he's a better option than Cutler, but that's not saying much. And the matchup is just Ream going at Baltimore on Thursday night. So, Devontae Parker, if he goes, he's already questionable, but I'm staying away from Javaris Landry.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more there, actually.
Baltimore's got a really good pass defense, so it's justifiable. For sure.
Right, third least points to wide receivers.
Right.
Yeah. I'm also sitting. I've already mentioned the aforementioned. I already mentioned I'm not playing Cooper this week. I'm actually not playing Mike Evans either this week.
Oh, wow.
I don't like the matchup against Carolina. Granted, they have let up they've let up 6 touchdowns to the position this year, but 5 of those 6 came off the arm of Tom Brady or Drew Brees. So neither Tom Brady or Drew Brees is the other quarterback in this game. Therefore, I don't trust it. I just don't trust it. I don't think he's gonna be able to get those scores. And I do think though the tight ends will do some damage in that game. But I'm not touching that. And I'm also avoiding this week Michael Thomas. Like I said before, I don't like Drew Brees this week. I really don't like his weapons this week either. Chicago is a surprisingly tough defense. Outside of allowing 4 touchdowns to the Green Bay wide receivers, they've only allowed 2 other touchdowns to receivers this season. Just saying.
I could totally see that. I mean, the Bears' defense is really what's been keeping them in games and why Mitchell Trubisky can throw complete 4 passes and still get a 17-6 win or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't see the number one. I see them shutting down number ones more often than not, so I'm not playing their number one in this matchup. It's just a bad matchup for Michael Thomas.
Yeah, I just don't like what Michael Thomas has done all season long. I mean, he's one of those guys where you really don't want to sit unless you absolutely have to.
Yeah.
but he hasn't been that number one receiver that anybody expected him to be so far this year after Brandon Cooks left for New England.
No, he hasn't. He really hasn't. But a couple guys I am going to play this week, and one of my guys is going to be a little bit of a surprise for a lot of people. I'm playing Will Fuller this week at Seattle. I did mention how, I don't think that, Houston, that Seattle's defense is really going to let up a lot of points and whatnot. But I can see Will Fuller having a very good game, being able to get, move the ball down the field. I could see him having like 100, 120 yards receiving on like 6 or 8 catches. Granted, no touchdown, but in PPR leagues, I mean, that's a nice, flex play right there is Will Fuller.
I like that. Like I said, I'm starting Deshaun Watson in that game too, so that could be
another guy. Yeah,
good matchup for those two.
I don't. It's not a good matchup. I disagree with that. I just think that because Richard Sherman's going to be blanketing DeAndre Hopkins most of the game, that that kind of marginalizes his value and what he's going to do. I just think Will Fuller is going to be the one that moves the ball down the field.
Right, and that'll put Jeremy Lane over on Fuller, and Fuller can run. Fuller's a fast guy.
Yeah,
I think it'll be tough for Jeremy Lane to keep up.
Yeah, but when you have Earl Thomas and Cam Chancellor in the back end, doesn't matter how fast you are, they're gazelles.
That's true.
Just saying. That's why I said they don't let up the big play. That's why I said he's going to move the ball down the field. He's not scoring, though. That's a given. Another guy I am rolling with this week, Nelson Aguilar. I love the matchup this week against my 0-8 49ers. It's
continues to see the end zone.
It's a Ream defense. He does continue to see the end zone. I see another game where he sees the end zone this week. I'm also playing Dez this week. No Josh Norman. He's going to kill it. And, he's just going to kill it this week. They do the commercials, the cute commercials and everything. But, Dez is going to eat that secondary up this week.
I love it.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Nelson Aguilar has touchdowns in what, back-to-back games? I know he scored last night.
I think it's 3 games. I'll bring up my team real quick.
It's 3 games.
Yeah.
He's got 5. He's got 5 on the season.
Wow.
Yeah, which is second in the NFL.
Yep.
To 6, I believe, to a bunch of people.
Well, there you go. I mean, it's a good thing I have him on my list too as a fresh start at wide receiver, and the other fresh start I have is this one's bold has been my theme for the day. Is Benny Fowler of the Denver Broncos going up against the Kansas City Chiefs? No, Emmanuel Sanders is leaves a spot open. Obviously, you're going to have Kansas City's defensive backs covering Demaryius Thomas and probably A.J. Derby and Virgil Green. And somebody's got to get the ball. I think it's going to be Benny Fowler. I think he's going to find his way to find open field.
I agree with you, man. I mean, I picked up Benny Fowler this week when Emmanuel Sanders went down. They made light of the injury. I saw that went down 2 weeks ago, and I'm like, this guy might be out for the season, if not long-term or whatnot. They are saying that he's questionable this week, that he's day-to-day. I still don't believe it. It's a great matchup against, believe it or not, the Kansas City Chiefs, who've given up the second most points to opposing wide receivers. What's interesting is you almost stole my thunder on this one.
Second most? Wow. I didn't think
that.
Yeah, they're ranked 31st in points to the wide receiver position.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And that feeds into one of my fresh plays. I'm saying this is the return of Demaryius Thomas. We almost saw it 2 weeks ago against the Giants when he went for 10 for 133, but then he came back and laid an absolute dud, two catches for 9 yards. I think based on all those reasonings that we just gave for Benny Fowler, Demaryius Thomas is set up for a 153 TD day. And it's going to be a Monday night show.
True story, yeah.
A divisional game. I think, Kansas City Chiefs are going to put up some points in that game, believe it or not, because the Denver Broncos defense has almost done a flip-flop from last season. They're ranked number 1 in DVOA against the rush, and they're ranked, I believe, off the top of my head, somewhere between 15th and 19th in pass DVOA.
Yeah, well, that's T.J. Ward makes a big difference.
Right, right. And I mean, now, am I saying that they're not a strong secondary? They still are. Talib is boss or whatnot, but the Chiefs just have so many receivers that they can hit up, and you have a big one out of the backfield in Kareem Hunt. So I think Kareem Hunt has a big day in the passing game, and this turns into a Monday night shootout.
I could definitely see that. Yeah, that's a very good point, Rob.
Thank you.
Hey.
I have them like once a year.
Yeah, that happens. Broken clock's right twice a day,
Besides that, another wide receiver that I'm looking to play maybe more in a, how should I say, DFS variety. Looking through my list here. Where is he?
He's lost.
There you are. You're Mr. Tyrell Williams for the Los Angeles Chargers. I advocated Phillip Rivers in this matchup against New England. I say that Bill Belichick takes out Keenan Allen
out
of the equation, leaving a lot of targets for Tyrell Williams, who saw a lot of targets, in the first 4 games of the season. It's kind of disappeared the last 3 games. I think it's like this week is a theme for me for wide receivers in terms of the team name I changed to, the Reclamation Project of Demaryius Thomas and Tyrell Williams. So I think he makes a good play in FanDuel. Just looking up his price really quickly.
I mean, it's crazy how one player can just disappear.
6,200. Not a bad price. One play can disappear.
Yeah. For I have Tyrell Williams in 2 leagues, and he's riding my bench if I didn't already drop him.
Right.
So, I mean, Tyrell Williams needs a big game.
One more guy I'm going to throw out there that should have a huge game and a great matchup this week. Calvin Benjamin this week for Tampa Bay. I mean, granted, I did just, mention to, I did just advocate not being a fan of Jameis this week, but that doesn't mean Calvin can't put up some numbers.
Truth.
Especially garbage time, because that's when Jameis puts up numbers. Apparently, it's garbage time.
Very true.
So real quick, gentlemen, we have one position left, the running back position. Who wants to start us off with their fresh running back plays this week?
I'll start.
All right, go for it.
I like mine. These aren't as bold, but I like Devontae Freeman against the Jets. I think he's going to have a really good opportunity to continue his strong season against a Jets defense. And I like Alvin Kamara against the Bears.
I like Kamara as well against the Bears this week.
Kamara is turning into be that dual threat that they expected him to be coming out of college. He's that passing back who can still run the ball. And I think he's stealing snaps away from Mark Ingram.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to see more and more as the season goes on, as long as he keeps producing the way he is.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I mean, I absolutely love Melvin Gordon this week. I think it's a big week for him. I like Ezekiel Elliott as well this week, despite it not being a great matchup to necessarily run the football. We saw what happened on Monday night. Washington cannot cover running backs out the backfield, and they're going to get eaten alive by that.
Chomp, chomp.
Chomp, chomp.
The chewy chomp.
And I also love Christian McCaffrey this week at Tampa Bay.
Agreed.
It's a great matchup, as well as Turk Cohen this week for New Orleans.
One would think, because the matchup dictates that, but they've kind of forgotten about as an owner, I'm still holding on to him because I have Jordan Howard, and he's just my pure handcuff there. But you're talking about a guy getting lost.
Yeah.
Again, Tariq Cohen and Jordan Howard, another 20-plus carries this week or whatnot. He's saying, no. Slap, dick slap. This is my job, joystick. So,
he absolutely has. What was that one game he started, Tariq Cohen? And then after that, Jordan Howard's just like, no, this isn't happening to me. Not again.
Yeah.
I like Tariq Cohen this week. He scores this week.
Thing is that
75 yards.
Another reclamation project.
75
nice.
yards receiving.
It's a theme.
And a touchdown, I'm telling you.
It's a theme. Well, I'll feed into my fresh running backs as this being an older, longer in the tooth variety. I'm actually going to give you a 2-pack of Eagles this week to start. In leagues, you're going to play LeGarrette Blount against San Francisco, giving up the most points to opposing running backs.
Yeah.
In DFS leagues, as a value play, Wendell Smallwood, who's back playing well, also healthy.
Yeah, buddy. I'm digging that. I'm smelling what you're cooking over there.
5,500 on FanDuel.
Smelling what you're cooking over there.
Both guys had strong showings last night, for sure.
So another league play, fresh play, is Joe Mixon versus Indianapolis at home, giving up the second most points to opposing running backs.
Yeah, that's a must. Excuse me. That's a must start.
He's the guy that needs to just have a good game.
No, he needs to take the job and not be given the job because he hasn't earned it yet.
Agreed.
He needs to earn it. But speaking of earning it, who's earned a seat on the bench this week, Rob?
Cool. Yeah, rattle this off and then take a break.
Yep.
On the stale side for me, I'll keep it short and sweet. I'm gonna give you my top stale side since we're up against it.
Yes, we are.
Let's see here. Getting to that point of the notes here. We talked about him earlier this week, and I'm actually going to throw both of them in there. Isaiah Crowell and Duke Johnson. Don't go near him against Minnesota Vikings defense.
Yeah, that's a fair one.
Yep.
Brian?
I got Carlos Hyde against Philly. And I also have Jerick McKinnon against Cleveland. I wouldn't touch Jerick McKinnon this week. McKinnon.
I actually agree with you there on Jerick McKinnon. I'm actually not touching C.J. Anderson this week either. Or for that matter, I'm not touching any Indianapolis running back, Frank Gore or Marlon Mack this week. Just bad matchups. And Jay Ajayi either. And Jay Ajayi too. Like Jay Ajayi, even though it is a good matchup, he's just been running the ball so poorly.
Talk about a guy who's given a job and hasn't.
Well, he earned the job. Don't get it twisted.
He's just been a complete disappointment.
He's just been a disappointment this year, yeah. But, speaking of disappointments, that's what the waiver wire is for, and we'll get to that on the other side. This is Fantasy Dom.
Sorry, my bad. Go for it. Do that again. I meant to hit this button. I haven't ever produced this show. I'm just all over the place. That was my bad, yeah.
This is Fantasy Dominance now, only on a2dradio.com.
You're listening to the worldwide leader of Real Talk, A2DRadio.com.
Fellas, you ever come in from that baseball or football game and your woman won't come near you because you stink beyond belief? Then you need Soap Stash. You should never settle for a generic hygiene product that only covers up the stench. Treat your skin with the best nutrients. Feel clean with the only soap you'll need. The highest grade carrier oils are ingrained in all of their products, which are 100% natural and terrific for your skin. No sulfates, parabens, or phthalates, and synthetic fragrance free. Contact Soap Stash for your sample package and give your woman what she deserves. You can contact Soap Stash at 844-890-3197 or visit them on the web at soapstash.com or Facebook at Soapstash LLC. Once again, their number is 844-890-3197. Soap Stash, the new soap standard.
A2DRadio.com is proudly sponsored by Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants. Gibson Mayer, located in Yardley, PA, is a leading accounting and business consulting firm with a proven track record of handling critical issues with expertise across many different industries, including construction, distribution, hospitality, manufacturing, real estate, service trades, merchandising, professional services, and professional athletes. Give them a call at 215-369-3300. That's 215-369-3300. Your initial consultation is always free, and if you tell them that Tom and Mike from AM and the PM sent you, you'll receive 15% off all income tax services completed by February 15th. That's Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants, 215-369-3300, or visit them on the web at www.gibsonmayer.com. That's gibsonmayer.com.
A2DRadio.com is sponsored by the Sports Outlet for all your sporting needs. Located 703 Black Horse Pike in Glendora, New Jersey. Give them a call at 856-939-2030 or email them at sportsoutletnj@comcast.net or visit them on the web at www.sportsoutletinc.com for all your sporting needs. The Sports Outlet.
get your skills in shape? Then contact the Scanzano Sports Center, located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You can give them a call at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at www.scanzanosports.com. John Scanzano offers individual, semi-private, and team training lessons in hitting, pitching, catching, outfield, along with turf rentals. The Scanzano Sports Center is equipped with a 31,000 square foot indoor facility, 4 batting cages, and a 4,000 square foot strengthening and conditioning room. So what are you waiting for? Contact the Scanzano Sports Center today.
You're listening to Fantasy Dominance Now, only on A2DRadio.com.
And welcome back to Fantasy Dominance Now, only on A2DRadio.com. Fantasy Dominance Now is brought to you by Gibson Mayer LLC, certified public accountants, located at 301 Oxford Valley Road, Yardley, PA. Gibson Mayer LLC for all your accounting needs. We're also brought to you by the Scanzano Sports Center, located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You can reach them online at www.scanzanosports.com, or you can give them a call at 856-889-3434. That's Scanzano Sports Center. And what up, guys?
What's up, Doug?
Almost done your first show in the captain's chair. How you feeling? Feeling up all right?
I'm feeling all right. I mean, I'm a little nervous, you know what I mean? But, hey, I don't think I could fuck up any more. I only got 12 minutes left.
Makes you feel any better. I think you did a pretty good job. It's just going to take a little bit of practice, that's all.
No, that doesn't make me feel any better at all.
Wah.
I'm just playing. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Oh, man. But, yeah, man, so we've gotten through all your starts and your sits. And, hey, if you have any more fantasy questions, please get at us. You know what I mean? I'm on Twitter at StatMagnet85. I'm on Facebook under Doug Pitchford. Brian, where can the people find you if they need you?
On Twitter, I'm at Brian_A2D Radio. On Facebook, I'm just at Brian Daly. So hit me up.
Rob, where can the people find you, my friend?
Twitter, Robbie BLTZ. Facebook, leave me alone. It's for my family.
Very good. Very good.
No, hit me up on Facebook, whatever. You know, I mean, I love answering fantasy questions. It gives me clarity for my own decisions. So hit us up. You know, definitely we're a resource to get back to you right away. You don't have to wait too long for an answer.
Truth be told. And Rob, more importantly, where can the people find the show page if they just want to hit us up on there?
FDN A2D on Twitter. Instagram is A2D_radio_fantasy dominance, and Facebook to be announced.
Very good. Very good. So everybody, like we've already gone through, you know, like I said, all of our starts and our sits and all that. You know, who can the people add this week? You know what I mean? Whether it's to play this week or in the future, who can the people go out there and grab right now, Brian Daly?
I've only got a couple guys to go out there and grab. They're a top priority for me personally. I would go out and get Josh Doxson for the Redskins. Went 3 for 5 for 39, but he's seeing more snaps every week. More snaps means more opportunities to get the ball.
Damn right.
I'm also going after Deion Lewis, who, believe it or not, I'm actually still – I can't believe that the Pats running game is still a little bit of a mess in the backfield. But Deion Lewis went out and he had himself a good game in Week 7, 13 attempts for 76 yards, led the Pats in rushing. So hopefully that's a sign of things to come and maybe a little solidifying the lead back there. And I'm also – this is a little bit of a stretch, but I'd go after Brandon Coleman, wide receiver from the New Orleans Saints. He's a bit of a TD or bust wide receiver so far, but I think he's going to see more playing time. He's going to get some more targets.
Right on.
I mean, he just needs to solidify himself a little bit.
I mean, you had a couple interesting ones there, especially Josh Doxson. I'm big on him. He's one of my must-adds for this week. I actually also – Chris Ivory, even though Jacksonville's on a bye, it's a must-add this week. Leonard Fournette missed the last game due to that ankle injury. And let's be real, we don't know the severity of that ankle injury. They downplayed it after the game, and then he missed the game.
Yeldon was the benefactor, though, this week, not Ivory. I know because I played Ivory in DFS.
Oh, no.
I mean, I played Ivory. He didn't have that touchdown?
No, that was that long touchdown was Yeldon.
It was Yeldon, yeah. He had a huge day.
Yeah.
And that makes he creeps up just when you thought he was dead. Now it makes it confusing, but I don't think I could put much stock in Yeldon. I think I'm with you on Ivory, but be aware that, it could be a little bit of a competition for that vacant spot, however long Fournette's out.
Absolutely. Quarterbacks to add this week. Tyrod Taylor is a must-add this week. You know what I mean? A lot of people are very questioning on Tyrod Taylor. Listen, all this dude does is win football games. Like, you can't question that. Coming off, he had a 21-point performance this week in our league. So he's a good play. I mean, if nothing else, he's a decent second quarterback option to have.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. Another quarterback option, if you're in a deeper league, or certainly, I mean, this has DFS ramifications for a value play. Josh McCown. Again, putting up stats. The Jets don't win, but that don't matter because they're in the games competitively. And this past week had 4 touchdowns, 3 in the air, 1 on the ground. So he makes an interesting add. I know I was down on Matt Moore earlier based on this matchup, but maybe looking, however long Jay Cutler's out, Matt Moore is an option to be added, especially in deep leagues or maybe if you're in 2 QB leagues. To tie in with Matt Moore, Kenny Stills. Not this week, people. Like I said, I'm not contradicting myself. So shut the fuck up. I get attacked for this a little bit online, but all right, done being sensitive now. What I will bring up is that now that Moore is starting, his man crush has been Stills. He targets him a ton, and I expect that to be a good combination if you're looking for a value to pay down on quarterback and get a value play in wide receiver. But certainly in deeper leagues, these can be adds. In more shallower leagues, sticking with the wide receiver position, we talked about him earlier, Nelson Aguilar.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if he's in your league, you should grab him. We said before, touchdowns in 3 straight and 5 on the season. And here's where I have the actual stats to back up what I said before. He's tied for second in the league. Now, of course, these 5 touchdowns were in 7 games. This was previous to – it was including last Monday night's game. But he's second in the league behind Crabtree, Jordy Nelson, and Hopkins, who have 6. Adams, Will Fuller, believe it or not, who came on late, and Chris Hogan have 5 as well. So that's elite company to be on. If he's still available on your waiver wire, definitely grab Nelson Aguilar.
Agreed.
And my last one for running back, Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, he's not available in a lot of leagues, but if he is available in yours, snatch him up ASAP. I got a couple more, and I can't believe this guy is not even owned in 30% of leagues. Jared Goff, if you had one of these quarterbacks that got injured, whether it's Rodgers, whether it's Palmer now, go pick up Jared Goff. I mean, he's owned in 28% of ESPN leagues. That's insane. He's the 12th rated quarterback in fantasy right now, and he's only owned in 28% of leagues. That's insane.
That is insane.
I don't get that. Obviously, you know what I mean? If some of these guys, Wendell Smallwood, if he's available in your league, you go out and grab him now. He's another great back to have option-wise. We already talked about Deion Lewis at nauseum. Devontae Booker might be an interesting sneaky play there in Denver, just based on some of the things that have been I've seen coming out of Denver, looking like they're starting to try to get him involved in the offense. He might be a guy to think about if you're in a deeper league or in a dynasty league even.
Yeah, I was about to say Devontae Booker in a dynasty league because C.J. Anderson and Jamal Charles aren't going to be able to run the ball forever. So
no, definitely not.
It's a good option to have.
Definitely not. Marquise Lee as well is another great receiver add. He seems to be the number 1 there in Jacksonville. That seems to be where Blake Bortles is looking to go with the ball more often than not, especially without AR-15. I got one more guy. Now I lost him.
Well, that's why I went shallower, man. I mean, you want to bust my balls that Kamara is not available in many leagues. I'm talking shallow leagues. In 10-team leagues, Kamara may be available. We're going to fight after the show.
Yeah.
I'm a little pissed.
When?
I can't even fake being mad at you. I love you too much.
That's because
I felt too much of agreement there. So I didn't want to fight. All right, let the cat out of the bag. That's like being a stand-up comic and telling people, "Hey, do you want to hear a joke?" Like that's just the worst thing you could do.
Well, it's a magician, you know. Do you believe in magic? I do, and that's why I'm saying to add Jordan Matthews, because I do believe in magic, and I think Jordan Matthews can find magic in Buffalo because there's really nothing else going on there. I mean, Zay Jones has been a non-factor his rookie year, but it always takes receivers a little bit to get going.
Yeah.
And you know what? Who else is there to target with the ball? Charles Clay's out. They traded Sammy Watkins. Robert Woods left in free agency. You know. And the first couple games of the year, it looked like he was starting to develop chemistry, and he was putting up decent numbers, 2 for 61, 3 for 61, 3 for 30 is a little mad, but that's not a bad, he's getting the ball in space and down the field. So I think Jordan Matthews this week, especially against Oakland too, he could be a plug-and-play ad this week.
Truth.
I completely forgot about Jordan Matthews, to be completely honest with you, since he went up to Buffalo.
He's still playing? He's still in the league?
Right, he's still playing?
Yeah, he's been hurt.
Sometimes I think the Buffalo Bills are in the CFL. You know what I mean? But don't sleep on it this year. They're 4-2.
Yeah.
Who would have thought that the Bills, the Jets, and the Bears would be a combined 10 wins at this point at Week 8 in the season? I wouldn't have thought that.
I mean,
I don't know. A lot of people thought
that's
the
not
Jets
even that
were gonna
many
go
wins.
winless.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't have said winless because, like I said in the preseason, the Jets' defense was very, very good. The Jets' defense would give them the opportunity to win games. Their offense would make them lose all of them.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people at the station thought Jets winless, Browns winless.
Well, no, I knew the Browns would be better than winless, and the defense proved me right. Their defense isn't that bad. They're actually playing very well on that side of the ball.
Their front seven has been pretty spectacular.
Yeah, and which I thought would be the strength of that defense going into the season, but that offense, oh my God.
I mean, it's nice to see Myles Garrett finally join that team in Cleveland and make his presence felt. I believe his first snap was a sack, was it not?
His first snap was a snack, and a sack is a snack. Sometimes they're snacks.
Yeah.
And he's had 4 sacks in 3 games.
Yeah.
Sack every game.
Yep. 2 in the opener.
That's a nice way to open the season up for that young man. So I mean, like we got a couple minutes left in the show.
What, the poll results? As of the moment, I mean, there's still 22 hours left to vote, peoples, but we asked you on Twitter, who's your biggest fantasy football bust this season? We gave you a couple options, Julio Jones, Matt Ryan, Marshawn Lynch, or someone else. Interesting, someone else did not receive a vote.
Really?
Yeah, so we nailed the picks pretty good then.
That's surprising.
Took a risk throwing in 2 Falcons there, but justifiably, with 60% of the vote, Matt Ryan is your leader at the present moment.
Wow. And see, I was even debating putting him on the poll.
Wow, and I thought Marshawn Lynch would definitely lead that one. I mean,
I thought Julio had it in the bag, personally.
It's still 22 hours left, a lot of time.
Yeah, right.
It's pretty close to voting after that.
So if you haven't already, hit the poll question up on Twitter and Facebook.
That's right. A2DRadio.com is where you can find us.
See, just plugging in those little holes there that I leave behind.
You ran a nice agenda, man. I mean, usually we're always like jamming in things to the final second or whatnot. I'm a little long-winded, so it's been told to me.
Hey, man, I run a tight ship, bro. I run a tight ship.
Well, let's send her on home, man.
Oh, man. Well, listen, thank you, everyone, so much for watching us here on Fantasy Dominance Now. For Brian Daly. For Rob Povia on the 1s and 2s, I'm Doug Pitchford. Peace and love, and take care of each other, y'all. Deuces.